and you're very welcome back to our YouTube live coverage of the local election count here in Kilkenny. I'm joined by father-son team of David Kennedy of Sinn Fein and his son Jack. David, you lost your seat in 2019. You're going at it again. 522 votes on the first count. How are you feeling?
Well, it looks like I'm not going to retake the seat, Paul, unfortunately. But our other candidate there is in a good position, a nice position. She's ahead there by, I think, about 40 votes, Stephanie. So hopefully my transfers from when I get eliminated will get her over the line, and at least we'll hold some seat. Listen, it's a bad day, you know.
Yeah, it has been a very...
Whatever we do, I don't know. The doors are positive. We still have good candidates out there, but we just can't seem to get the local election vote out. It seems to be completely different in a general election, where it seems that we run candidates and we can get votes left, right and centre. But when it comes to the local elections, we just can't seem to get them, unfortunately.
Is that because you're up against very, very established names, or is it kind of people go what they know, or have you given that any thought?
Sure, listen, the turnout doesn't help when you only have 49-50%, and it's as simple as that. Like, we try to canvass as much as we can, but if you're going out country roads and stuff like that, it's time consuming. And the majority of them people are voting for the bigger established parties, and they go out and vote, and we're left sitting here saying, how do we improve this? How do we get the vote out? But there's only, in reality, Paul, there's only a certain amount we can do. We can only do the work we can do and get judged on and hopefully get elected on. But it's tough days like this. But listen, we'll rock on and we'll keep going.
Exactly. And my colleague Paidi is waiting there very, very patiently, so I'll let you come in there.
As per usual. David, why Sinn Fein? Because, now again, I'm only trying to do something different. But your father was apparently a great Fianna Fáil man. I know my family, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, there's all different sides. What made you decide not to follow his footsteps and go your own way, if you don't mind me asking?
No, but my other side of the family are all Republican. See, it's what you don't know and what you do know. Like my parents' side will be Republican, all her side. Listen, I want United Ireland. In time it will come. When it comes, we don't know. But I would love to see United Ireland. We're going back in time now. My late father has passed away now, but we would also have arguments about a United Ireland. And the one thing that I always remarked whilst growing up, that I never heard of my father talking about a United Ireland. And what I used to call him, and I used to call him all the time, was a 26 county Republican. You know, they didn't mind about the North. They wanted their own. And listen, history is great. We all know our history, and stuff went on that shouldn't have went on. And you know, we all have to say things like that. That stuff went on that shouldn't have went on. But I always wanted to unite, and I still want to unite Ireland. And I think we're on the right route. But it's going to take time. I don't want a situation like Brexit where it's just forced upon us and it's done completely and utterly wrong. We have to have, in my opinion, a 10-year plan onto something like this, that we have a roadmap of how we can do it. And listen, we have up and close 1 million unionists that'll disagree with what I'm saying, but we'll have to try to bring them on board. So stuff like that is how I would have got involved. And listen, Paidi, I'm not going to shock you when I tell you this. If I had to put my name on a ticket, on a Fianna Fáil ticket 10 years ago, I'd have never been elected a councillor. I'd have never got on the ticket because, as you said, my father was but he was a worker for Fianna Fáil. And in my opinion, he would have been a great councillor because he was that kind of man. But at them times, and to a certain extent it still is, it's who we are within a party. I always found, my good friend Kathleen Function, who I know with 20 years, I've always got on well with her, I've worked well with her. She asked me to run many, many years ago, and I didn't hesitate. And listen, we've had one good election and 2 bad elections. And it seems, to what I went back on there with Paul, we seem to be able to get a good vote in a national election. But it's just so hard when you're competing against the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gaels and stuff like that in a local election. But we'll try. Listen, we have to keep trying. We have to put forward, and we've put forward good young candidates this time. And whilst they've not got elected, they've got a good profile. You know, like we have Natasha Newsom-Drennan. her first time running, who took out a nice vote out with a two candidate policy in the south. She's took out a good vote.
So to interject, really the answer to the question is ideology. You believe in the Sinn Féin ideology. You're a Sinn Féin member because of the Sinn Féin ideology.
Listen, every party has to have some belief, and you and I know there's a lot of lads running for different parties who don't give a rat's about anything.
Tuppenny.
Yeah, they'll do it for their own belief. And trust me when I tell you this: if you get elected as a councillor, you're not in it for the money, because you get paid very little, and you get a hell of a lot of abuse for it. And what I found lately regarding politics, it's very toxic. It's gone so toxic. And like, if you put something up online, you're hammered on it. Whether you...
I saw that on your page.
Yeah. Myself and you, Paddy, go back years. We'll disagree, we'll agree, but we'll be friends at the end of it. Some of this stuff is pure vile.
I gave it number 2, David.
And I appreciate that. And I do, and you know I do. But what I would say about, we're trying to... And listen, I'm all in favour of gender balance. I love seeing women run alongside men, because it's good for everyone, it's good for everyone. But why in the Lord's name would you try to convince a girl to run while they're open to be abused more than the male? And they are.
I wouldn't convince anyone to run. I think it's a horrible job.
It is, and it's a job. Listen, I got when I was a councillor for 5 years, I got great satisfaction of it. I absolutely loved it, and I did. And as I said, you're not doing it for the money, because you get paid very little at. But it's the small things. It's the helping the elderly person get a bathroom grant, stuff like that. Getting your potholes fixed. That's what local politics is to me. And I know we all say local politics is everywhere in the dollar, which it shouldn't be. I always maintain that if you're elected as a TD, you do legislation. You shouldn't have to be ringing the council about, I want a road tarred in Thomastown, or I want it in Steeg. That's what your council's like for. And there is an argument to give more power to the local authorities, legislation-wise. Go back to the old days. Let them have a bit more freedom on how they raise finances. If you think, listen, we're hashtagging debates here that should have been said before the election, but like, there is no way for local authorities, bar parking and commercial rates that are set in Dublin anyway. So, listen, as you said, all politics is local. I think I said all politics is local, but that's why I got involved in it. So,
thanks, David. Now, a question for this man.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jack.
Jack, what do you do?
As unofficial campaign manager.
Hey, good man.
I didn't get elected, so it might be a good time.
You've been fired.
Yeah.
What did you think of the campaign, Jack? Is it your first campaign, presumably?
It's my first campaign and I love it all. It's brilliant.
And you line up on a run now yourself?
Hopefully, yeah.
The Kennedy dynasty starts here.
Yeah.
No, and what I would say, he's been brilliant. He's out with me every night canvassing. He was, now in fairness to him. And listen, like all political parties, and I can only talk for us, and I can talk for the few I've talked to, it's getting even so hard to get lads to canvass. Now, we were working with 4 or 5 people, and that was it. We canvassed what we thought we could get out of it, but obviously it didn't work. But that's politics, You take the good, like in 2014, we had a good result, 19 a bad result. Listen, it's not so bad this time, because it looks like we're in the shout for a seat here. It
looks like it might be the only seat in Kilkenny.
Yeah, I still wouldn't write off. Listen, we're a bit flummoxed here with the Comer box, because you were here at the start of the morning, the tallies are absolutely atrocious. So there is boxes missing. Whether they will affect us in a good way or I have a feeling it could affect us in a bad way, because there would have been areas that possibly Dennis wouldn't be that strong in. I still wouldn't write off Natasha. There's a bit there. She has a good first preference vote. Listen, these
with a running mate behind her.
Yeah, these are long shots now, you know what I mean? Like, even if she was to take 60% of her running mates' number 2s, there's still a long...
Everything needs to go right.
And it does. And what we did notice now, because we were kind of looking at him, and I found it very strange, really strange, the amount of number 2s she was getting off Pat Dunphy. Okay. And I actually said, excuse me language, I said, that's a bit strange. She was getting a solid amount of number 2s. Now, listen, it's not going to be anyway substantial to get her elected, but it'll just show that Pat was probably getting And that's Pat does. And you know Pat long enough. He gets votes everywhere. So he was taking what we would call solid Sinn Féin votes as number one.
He's like a Dyson.
Yeah, he hoovers up everything, doesn't he? There's a few of them there. And again, we look at Joe Sheridan. Joe's a lovely man. Again, I'm brilliant with Joe. What a great campaign, like.
He did you and a lot of others damage.
Oh, 100%. Like, there was boxes in October there where I thought, well, listen, first of all, I did well. But I lost vote to him, like. And I'm in the position that I could not lose any of my own vote, which I did, unfortunately. Even my home box in Ballyhale, which I took out a massive vote out, but I still lost votes. And that stuff, you know, Paidi, when it comes to local elections, 20 votes is a lot to be losing. You know, like in 2014, we lost a candidate up in Homer by, I think, 9 votes. You know, 9 votes doesn't sound a lot, but if you're going looking for him, it's a hell of a lot to get. Like, it's just, and you don't find him. No matter what the talliers tell you, you just don't find him. And in the end of that campaign, when we were retallying her votes, we actually missed out on 3 more, so we actually lost by 12. You know, so in a local election, as you know, every box and every vote is good. But the one thing I will say, and you know this, the one thing you realise about politics, especially about locally, there's a hell of a lot of liars on the doors. You know?
I was saying this earlier. My cousin canvassed Greg the man in 2016, and we came out thinking he was going to top the poll in the general election. And we met Pat McKee at the council centre Sunday morning or Saturday morning. We're like, how did you on, Pat? Fantastic. Got a great reception in Greg. And we just went, oh God.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And listen, that's politics. When you sign up to it, you sign up to that kind of stuff, that you have good days, you have bad days. But we have to roll the dice. Like in 2020, we were accused of not running enough candidates, you know. And then I hear people saying there now, oh, Sinn Féin have ran too many. But like,
Can't win.
yeah, and I understand that, Paul, a certain degree. But if we had only run, say, if I only ran in Callan Thomastown again, I'd have been still struggling, because I wouldn't have got the vote Stephanie got out of Callan. So we would have still been down. Listen, and it is good in one way. It's not good for me, because obviously I'm not getting elected. But listen, I survive. I've been around long enough. I have a tick out neck of me.
And you'll be around a lot longer.
Well, I don't know. I have a funny feeling I won't be running again. And that's just my own opinion. You know, listen, I've ran 3 now. I've won 1, lost 2. I think there's no point going for a third one. And listen, there's younger people coming back too. But it goes back to the point. We just can't put people in just for the sake of running people. Now, nationally, the party, you have to sit down and have a look, and, you know...
I'm sorry to interject, but poor Michael Doyle looks fierce lonely over there. He's
Right,
waiting to get in.
I'll leave him go, lads. No bother. Thanks very much.
David, pleasure.
No
And
bother. Thanks very much.
well done. Jack, well done. Fair play.